All right. One quick thing before we get started. Storvac was actually originally written as a dexterous analog to Senator Armstrong. He was going to be a very persuasive and devious politician, and he only ended up being pivoted into the noir detective sort of position he's in now at the very last minute because of the background options that I had to pick for the campaign. So, with that in mind, let's get into session 1.
I knew this wouldn't be like any other night. None of them were since my partner was killed, but also it was 6 in the morning, and someone had played Jimmy with my corkboard. A harrow card with a time and address on it. Sundown, tonight. It was suspicious, but traps aren't worth spit when you have nothing left to lose. I cased the joint, seemed I wasn't the only one, and they were by far the least comfortable group of co-conspirators I'd seen in a dog's year. The freak in the armor was Torrin. He seemed dangerous, but that kind of danger can be useful. There was a shifty-looking dwarf, too, dressed like a priest, probably from the Forge God Millman. It was obvious that those two had a connection. Next was some old hag. Said she was only framed for a murder. Damn academics, say one thing and then go out and do the opposite. Then there was the twink. Expensive tastes, and he didn't seem like much of a fighter. Eccentric tastes, too. Of course, I knew Winston from the Force. Heard he was a good cop. Not sure why he's here, but at least I could trust him. And then the vagrant. Almost the twink's opposite, scrappy and dressed in rags. Probably the only real criminal here, which made her an asset. And of course there was the doll running the damn shindig. Older, confident, hair all the way down and gams all the way up. It was obvious that there was a connection. She started talking about how Gadrin stole her cards, and how he fed her son to a crocodile after he stole them back from her. Standard Korvosa vendetta, which is where we came in. She mentioned he was based in a warehouse on the docks. Red and Blonde scoped it out, no worries, but that was where our luck ran out. The main door was rusted shut. None of us could get in no matter what we tried, so we moved to the side door, but they'd been watching, and they sprung their trap. The next few seconds were a whirlwind. Giggles was a brute, and Red was out in seconds. Minerva blasted him back, and that left an opening for Winston to do what he does best. Damn good cop. Torrin breached and subdued the orphans, and from there it devolved into a brawl. There was a gnome with an acid wand, but he only shot once and then spent 3 turns trying to get it back up. I've been there. We made short work of him as the orphans trashed the place. Next was the guy with the knives. No threat whatsoever. He threw 6 knives and missed every time. Amateur hour. There may have been a 4th guy, but he probably wasn't important. What is important is what happens next in Session 2 of Curse 3, Korvosa Drift.
God, that is hard on my throat. I'm gonna have to rethink that. Yeah, Session 1 of Pathfinder. First impressions, it's not good. It's like, if you're coming from the perspective of 5th edition D&D, then you probably understand that 5th edition is simple and it's bad. And so when the Pathfinder designers saw that, they looked at it and said, yeah, I think I can fix that. And then they took all the simple out of it. It seems to be all the same jank, but just overcomplicated to the point of absurdity. I mean, I've seen some complex rule systems, but Pathfinder is up there, and their wiki is terrible. But, you know, if I only played for a few hours, maybe I'll start to like it. And that next session is, an hour away, and I've got a whole video to edit. So, we'll see if there's another one of these next week.